Bitch, I'm God, I'm the Alpha and Omega. I'm the ancient of the days. I'm the Rahman Rahim. And you don't know where I come, you don't know from where I came. All you know is I am one with many aspects, different names. Then one day the thought formed into a word inside my brain. Then I said let it be. Then next thing I heard a bang. Then I split up into infinite dimensions with a chain. Now we're all interlinked, we are a one and the same.
To a boss, you got to level up, but you're not going to impress me with certain things that I don't believe in. And, you know, because of that, that was a conversation that was had. And, you know, I liked the conversation because it was public, and I thought that they evolved after that, you know, and I was there to promote something to sell. But what I ended up promoting was a mentality that I think changed a lot of what we are today. And I'm glad. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to be learned from.
Right. Consistency in business, and Culture Vultures, a particular episode in there where you guys talk about that and just being consistent, and you break it down like, you know, you can't have a restaurant and it be nasty one day then good another day. You have to be consistent. So can you break that down for our audience, you know, why you have to be consistent in any business that you do? It's
your brand. You know, if you're a drug dealer and your work is bad, they're not coming back. But if they know your work is good consistently, they standing online and they waiting for it. They're not going to take nobody else's work. Mm-hmm. So you got to be consistent, or else you're not going to have consistent bread. You ain't going to have consistent cash flow. You ain't going to have consistent cousins, you know?
Culture Vulture, the book, man. Book written with you and Kenyatta Griggs. We had Kenyatta Griggs on the show a number of times, friend of the show. That book was a life-changing kind of experience, too, and the movement that it had was very powerful. Talk about the creation of that book, Culture Vultures.
I mean, that was me and Kenyatta just chopping it up. And like before everyone had podcasts and all that shit, we was doing that. And we're just giving out free game from my perspective, my game. You know, you don't have to play my game, but if you want to, I could tell you how I play it. And I'm very generous with how I feel in the moment. And that's what we did. We took it and we took that information, put it to paper, made an audio version of it with music. And, you know, hopefully there'll be a part 2. I'm sure there will be. I talk to Kenyatta often. And, you know, there's more to come, but it will be a different book because I'm in a different place, different experiences. It'll be the evolution. I like the fact that Culture Vulture, the term is almost like the worst thing that a white person wants to be called. Like, not the Culture Vulture word, not that.
Yeah.
That's in our vernacular now. You know, like I made up a lot of slang like pop tags and fresh to death and all this type of shit. But Culture Vulture is the one term I'm most proud of.
Right now, and in that book, you mentioned, you know, a few people, one being Lyor Cohen, and you called him a culture vulture, and you pretty much, you know, said that he was instrumental in breaking up Rockefeller. Can you talk a little bit about that? Some of the people you called out in that book.
I mean, I would prefer everybody get the book. I'm just sick of talking about those people. They're in my rear view, and he's not relevant to me, you know? So I think I was able to make his legacy exactly what it should be, and that now he has to pay the proper respect, or at least pretend, while he's exploiting. But at least when Lyor Cohen walks in the room, everyone's like, oh, that's the dude Dame was talking about. Let's double check him, and let's make sure he doesn't say anything slick. He has to come with a different approach now.
Now, the apology, what happened with that, and how did that affect Kenyatta in the book at the time?
Man, I was hearing too much police talk. And that's that. And I didn't feel like being bothered. So leave me the fuck alone and keep my name out your mouth. You no longer have beef with me. So leave me alone. I don't know how it affected Kenyatta. But for me, that's all it was. It was like, I just leave me alone. I'm living my life. You live in yours. So if you offended, go ahead over there and be offended over there. But it ain't no reason to talk about me. And, you know, I don't want to be my name kicked around in certain circles for certain things. So that was that. That's how I was feeling in that moment.
Gotcha.
It wasn't saying I apologize for what I said. It was, if your feelings are hurt, I'm sorry. But I said what I said. But it's over. Leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all making it more of a beef than it is. It ain't. It's my opinion. It's not my lifestyle to be talking about niggas all day. You know what I'm saying? So like, if I'm bothered or if I'm fucked up or something and I need to make money off it, that's one thing. I'm not. My future looks too good to be talking about my past all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not the dude that's in high school like, yo, I was the quarterback when I was 16 and keep talking about that shit all day. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I said what I said. I left it. I'm not even in that industry at
Right.
all. Those people aren't even in my orbit. So it's for all of y'all that are still affected by him. They soft. And I just wanted y'all to know that. You know what I'm saying? But no beef. Leave it alone. It was just an opinion.
Word.
Go live your life. I'm living mine.
Word.
I'm not really mad. I'm just aware.
How do we, in your opinion, get rid of the culture vultures? Because we see that when people like you and other people call them out, you will have brothers and sisters that will still continue to feed the vulture, whether it be going to platform and different things like that. How do we rid the industry of those vultures, both black and white?
I mean, we just got to get stronger as a culture and work within each other. And we got to blackball them and stop letting them, validate our success, because they don't. You know what I mean? It's a new narrative. But there's always going to be soldiers. There's always going to be generals. There's going to be people that think they're free, but they're slaves. And there's going to be people that are free and know they're free and want everyone else to be free. But most slaves, they don't want to be free. They're scared. You know what I'm saying? Or slave mentality. So, breaking a slave mentality takes effort. You could be complacent with being miserable. You could be scared of being happy because you don't know what it is. I think people got to find a happy place. They have to understand what their dream is and what it means to live it, and then fight for that. And culture shouldn't get in the way of your happiness. You got to do what you want to do regardless, as long as you're doing it fair.
What are your thoughts on the 360 deal? You broke that down a lot and talked about how that, pretty much, for lack of a better word, raping artists. Could you break that down in layman's terms?
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't give up my merch. I wouldn't give up my show. I wouldn't give up anything, because you don't have to. What can they do for you that you can't do for yourself in this moment?
Yeah.
So I just don't think it's necessary. I think because of the fact that when we did the Rockefeller deal, that Lyor couldn't get a piece of Rockware and he couldn't get a piece of any of the ancillary things. I mean, I used to literally laugh at him. I used to be like, yo, I'm using all your money, or not yours, the money from the venture to market every other thing I'm selling, and you can't get $1. And I used to laugh at him. So, he was like, that will never happen again. And they made the deal. But I warned everybody about it. Like, yo, don't sell your ass. Because the ancillary things are where you, and people better really look at their digital. That's what you really got to look at. Don't give up your digital. Don't give up your YouTube, because that's what they be taking on the low. That's the new hustle. So don't let them catch you for that.
We know you're on the outside looking in, but your name in hip hop still stands as one of the prominent names of hip hop history. So I would love to know your opinion on the current state of hip hop. Where do you think it's at? And what do you think about all the rash of violence that we've seen played out right in front of us on the phone within hip hop?
I mean, as it relates to the music, I'm 50, so I'm not going to judge it. I haven't been around in 30 years. So I don't expect it to be the same as it was. And, music is usually based on the environment. I'm not outside, so I don't really know what the environment's like. So I'm never going to judge it, but I do hate that these kids are getting killed. I hate that, and that's a problem. And I'm going to leave it at that. I just wish that being successful didn't come with going to jail and friends and family getting killed. That we have to figure that one out. But as people that are older, leading by example and showing people how to age eloquently, that would be the most I could really do. And that's what I do. I drop the information to make sure people aren't fitting in that program where it's all right for us to kill each other and let our oppressor get away with all this shit. That's what they want us to do. And they give us the tools to do it. So we can't use them to be caught up in their game. Their game is make them fight each other while we rob them. And that's what we do. It's all right for a brother to kill another brother and be celebrated for it. And that's crazy. And it's all because of fear. Because, people have to grow up in a certain environment where they have to survive. And then, you expect them to turn that shit off, and it's hard to. So if you come from a place where you have to be violent to survive, that's all you know. And that's all you teach. So we have to make that environment a little less traumatizing for the young ones, so that they don't have to feel they have to kill to defend themselves and to survive. Because kids are taught to be tough only because they're like, yo, if you don't, someone's going to take advantage of it. You're taught to either be food or do the eating.
Yeah.
You kill or be killed. If you're taught to be you like, yo, would you rather be killed or be a killer? You're going to say, I'd rather be a killer. I mean, what choice do you have in that environment?
Right. Snitch culture. Do you think that's helping or hurting hip hop? We know the code and we know that we don't allow any rats if you're in that game, but we seem like that's kind of getting promoted and they've gravitated to that and kind of promoting that in front of everybody. Do you think that snitch culture or that word snitch is helping or hurting hip hop right now?
I mean, snitch doesn't help anything. So, I'm going to leave it at that.
Now, I seen you probably 2015 is when I first heard of the situation with Desiree Perez and Rock Nation. You broke it down on Sway.
No. Next question.
Okay.
All right, I want to talk about the marijuana business. You know what I mean? We see a lot of people, a lot of us, smoking marijuana for years, in jail for it, sitting there still doing time for it. And now the boom is across America. It's getting legalized and we see other people making money off of it. Talk about the marijuana business, where it's came, where it's evolved.